This is the other great thing about ADHD. Every time I do a panel, it's slightly different because I completely mad-lib everything I do.
As one should.
As one should. You know, this is the way. All right. So it is now officially 12 o'clock, which means it's time to get clicker trained with Acrolon. So today we're going to be looking at clicker training and its misuse in the furry fandom. I'm sure we all know that furries like to misuse things, and clicker training is definitely one of those. So today we're going to be looking at what clicker training is, the history of clicker training, and kind of how you can actually clicker train a dog or a friend. Sometimes that is both.
Or a dog friend.
So who's this weird dog up here? Who am I? Who is this guy? And why do I have any authority to talk about clicker training? So to start, I am currently a dog trainer and the site lead for an animal shelter in Pennsylvania. I work at the Pennsylvania SPC and Lancaster Center. I have the pleasure of working with behaviorally challenged dogs, and I also train staff and volunteers. Prior to working at the SPCA, I volunteered at that same shelter, and then I also worked with a service dog training organization doing puppy raising with Canine Partners Collect. All right, and then, so I have about 10 years worth of dog training experience between working at the animal shelter and doing puppy raising. So this is a big reason why this panel is important to me and why I'm really anal about clicker training. As a dog trainer, it irks me so much when I see people misusing the clicker. I had it like drilled into me when I did the puppy raising. This is how it works. If you don't do it this way, it doesn't work. So like for 10 years of my life, I'm like, this is how you clicker train. Then I joined the furry fan and I'm like, what are you doing? Bad dog. And then down here below, just because I like showing off dogs, this dog right here was actually the first dog I trained. Her name was Whitney. She was a sweetheart. She was a sassy little girl. She would only work for food. She would only play fetch for food. She was very well clicker trained. This sweet baby was Ragnar. He unfortunately passed away. He was one of the more behaviorally challenged dogs. And this is why I always encourage people, adopt, don't shop. There are thousands of dogs in animal shelters. Not all of them make it out. So not saying that it's wrong to necessarily to go to a breeder. Just make sure you do your homework and try and adopt from a shelter if you can. This here is one of the first behavior dogs I ever worked with, Mr. Richard. He was the best. He gave the best hugs. You want to talk about furries giving good hugs? Richard, best hugs ever. He was my favorite boy. He got adopted into an awesome home. Was able to manage his reactivity behaviors. And he was like kind of the first dog I worked with behaviorally at the shelter. And then here's Whitney as a little puppy. Look at them puppy eyes. She was a sweet girl. She was my favorite. She was literally the first dog I ever trained. So ignore this part. So apparently it did not save when I edited it. So we're just gonna ignore this here and this here. Don't look at that. It's not there. I promise. So first we're gonna look at how popular culture misunderstands and misuses the clicker. And this is where my attitude comes from. We're going to look at the history of clicker training. Where did clicker training come from? What is clicker training? What is classical conditioning? These things are kind of intermingled and related. Its application to dog training. So we're going to look at how you can actually use this to train a dog, a cat, a person, whatever. And then lastly, we're going to talk about how to annoy your friends. And then depending on how I'm feeling, maybe we'll talk about this, but it's not, don't look at it. Oh God, does that mean that slide is, oh my goodness. Don't look ahead. It's nothing new, it's just spicy. Alrighty. So everyone's wrong. And this is where I'm realizing my presentation's gonna come to a scratching halt, because I don't think I'm gonna be able to play the videos that are attached to this. But pop culture gets the clicker training wrong in a lot of different ways. The next slides are supposed to show you that, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to play them, but we'll see what happens. But the clicker is often in movies, popular culture, TikTok videos, whatever it might be, is often very misunderstood. What is that? With no audio. I don't know how to fix that. Is there? Hold on.
What is?
I think so sometimes.
What is the point of it? That's not how that works. How is the clicker the punishment? I'm so upset.
Exactly. So this is the first video. This is Wolfgang Cerberus. Give me 1 second. I really need to change my file because this one's like restricting my ability to talk.
Great 3D ray. Horrible use of it.
Don't look at me.
Oh God!
Not all Bakamas are created equal. There we go. Alright, so in this one, some of you already picked it up. He uses it like a punishment. You know, it's like, what are you doing, Wolfgang? He's like, you know, don't make me use this, and then starts clicking the person. It's not how that works. It's not how that works, guys. And I see we have some sharp minds. You guys picked up on it pretty quick. Alright, this one probably is better with the audio, but we'll...
Yo, if you'd like, I can debug the audio while you're giving the presentation.
Yeah. I mean, it's literally just 3 slides. So once these 3 slides are done...
Oh, okay, cool. Let me see what I can do.
I'm not sure if there's a something over there that needs set. It might be because I'm not actually paying for Microsoft right now. But yeah, in this video, he's pretty much like, what's 2 plus 2? And the guy goes, 5, good boy, he clicks him. And then he says, what's the capital of Maryland? And he says, Quebec, good boy, and he clicks him. And he just kind of asks him stupid questions, he gives a dumb answer, he clicks. And that's kind of the whole video.
You look so stressed.
I'm also a dog trainer, so I'm going to not yell out every time. I want to give the rest of the
Yes,
class.
fellow dog trainers unite.
Yeah, and handle a shirt for a reason.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just going to sit and upset, and everyone else can try to figure it out.
That's just the comment. It's alright. It's just one more slide. I can do this one. Alright, how many people have seen the movie Jurassic World?
Oh my God.
Yes!
Which makes me upset because I love Jurassic
World.
World.
So here's the pig. Squeak, 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 oink, 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 running through the forest.
Which
And here comes the raptors.
pig drifting was great though.
You're like, where did my pig go? Give me my pig. And then this guy, he's like, oh! And he just clicks it. He's just clicking it randomly at these raptors. And they're like, oh, look, a click noise. He's like, stop. Stop what you're doing. Stop in the name of love.
Dinosaurs, stop!
Stop in the name of love.
Doing it.
And then he walks over here for some reason. Clicking the whole time for some reason. He's like, stay, stay, dinosaur, don't eat me, stay. Have some chimkin.
But
Chimkin
he's
for
the
you.
human.
Chimkin for you. You get chimkin. You get chimkin. You all get chimkin.
I want a chimp.
Oh, it's a rat. Never mind. You want a rat, sir? It tastes like chicken. I'm hurt. I've heard. I don't know. We have any cat owners? You guys want a rat? He was like, all done. Go away. Don't talk to me.
No,
Get out
fuck
of
off.
here. Stupid dinosaurs. But yeah, so then we have 3 different examples of the clicker being used in like social media, movies, etc. And they're all wrong.
That's a very cute picture of you.
Well, it's me. You know, because I'm so modest.
Yeah.
So, clicker training is based around classical conditioning. So what is classical conditioning, you might ask? Classical conditioning is also known as Pavlovian conditioning. It is basically learning through association. Was originally discovered by Pavlov, a Russian physiologist. To simplify it, you take two stimuli and they're linked together to produce a new learned response in a person or animal.
Pavlov. The name rings a bell.
This will become more clear when I'm talking about when it comes to two stimulus as we get to Pavlov. This is a little bit of random information about Pavlov if you're interested in history, if you're a history guy or girl or it. He was born in the 1800s. He originally was going to be a theologian, but he's like, you know what? I'm going to study science instead.
Smart man.
Graduated with a medical degree. He got a Nobel Prize and was awarded that in the 1900s. And he is most known for his research and his contributions to physiology with the conditioned reflex or with Pavlovian conditioning. So, where did his research come from? So, Pavlov had dogs. Old Mick Pavlov had some dogs. E-I-E-I-O. It's bad that I forgot about this line. All right, so this is Pavlov's experiment. So basically, he would ring a bell prior to feeding the dogs food. He learned after several repetitions, the dogs would begin to salivate just at the sound of the bell. This is what is called a conditioned response. So basically what happens is the dogs associated the ringing of the bell with food. So every time they heard that bell, they knew they were going to get food. The conditioned response becomes so great that the dogs are basically acting like food is already presented at just the sound of the bell, because those two things are so connected. So that is the two stimuli. The first stimuli is the bell. The second one is the food. The dogs associate the ringing of the bell with the food. So basically, by just ringing the bell, they're having the same response physically and psychologically as if the food was already presented. We actually see the same thing in animal shelter. For anyone who may work at an animal shelter, has been in an animal shelter, feeding time is chaos. I literally have to wear earbuds when I feed, because as soon as I hear that cart enter the building, as soon as that food cart goes bump, bump, over the little bump into the kettle, it's pandemonium. They all know the sound of that cart means it's feeding time. And they all are jumping at the kennel. They all go crazy. I can walk through that kennel 100 times a day, and they don't care. I can walk through random things. They usually don't care unless they're crazy. But as soon as that food cart enters, you know. So this is where the conditioning idea in Pavlov's dogs originates from. So, don't look at this. Don't look at that. So, how did we get the clicker? Where did clicker training originate from? Anyone who did not look at the picture want to guess which one of these animals was the first to be clicker trained?
Pigeons.
Dogs, of course.
Pigeons. You close.
Was it a horse?
Not horses. How did you know? The original slide, it's not there, and then it's like, look at this, and it slides up like they pop out of the. So it kind of ruined it for me. But, well, the clicker was used with dog training around the same time that it was kind of introduced with dolphins. It was most prevalent in training marine animals. What is my next slide? Yeah, so back in the 1960s, it was common practice to use a clicker-like device or a clicker-style training in working with marine mammals, whether it's dolphins or the other different species like seals, all the cute stuff you see at SeaWorld. They typically used whistles or wooden sticks that would be like clicked together, and then they did the same thing. They would hit the sticks, blow the whistle. That's how the animal knew it did what they wanted them to do, and they'd get a treat. So, this is another big common misconception with clicker training, especially for those people who are kind of involved in the dog training world. Most people attribute the clicker to Karen Pryor. Basically, she's most well known for popularizing the clicker, whereas the first person to really use it with dog training was B.F. Skinner, and it was kind of his students that would take that concept into dog training. But Miss Karen Pryor is the one who made it popular. And for a long time, these clickers that would be sold would all have her name on it. So Karen Pryor and the clicker, while it was around prior to her, she's the one that made it famous. You know, she really went on like a campaign to push the clicker into the dog training community. And we would really, I would say we could contribute its success to Karen Pryor and its like kind of prevalence into the dog training community. She actually started as a marine trainer, which is ironic. So she took the concepts that she learned from working with dolphins and marine life and brought that into dog training. So, how does it work? So, for any type of dog training, any kind of training with a clicker, first you need to use the clicker as a marker. So the clicker is very much that first stimuli, similar to the bell, that precedes the reward. Over time, basically, you can then, the dog or the person being trained will associate the click with the reward. In dog training, we call it the marker. So basically, I'm using it as a means to mark the behavior that I find desirable. So if you're working with a dog, for example, if you want to train leave it. Leave it is a great command. Any dog owner should make sure their dog knows leave it. Simplest way to do it, once they have an association with the clicker, there's something there that you don't want them to get and they're on leash, they look at it, as soon as they look away from it, you click, you give them a treat. And then you can slowly build it up to adding the verbal cue, leave it, they look back at you, they get a treat. And you just kind of build up that resistance to the point where they don't even look at it. You know, they ignore items until you tell them they can have it. This was a really big thing with training with the service dogs because they really can't just be picking up random stuff. So it's a good tool. It's a good tool for letting the subject know that they are receiving a reward. Because the difficult thing with dog training, you can't always give them a treat the minute they sit. You can't always give them a treat the minute they do a command. So the clicker is there to mark the behavior and let them know you're going to get a treat for doing that. Because a lot of times, like when you're training a dog to sit, they pop out of their sit to get the treat. Or they pop out of the down, they pop out of the stay to get their treat. The click is rewarding them prior to them receiving the actual reward. And they'll associate that click with, I'm getting a reward and I did the right thing. So the way to use the clicker is first you want to load the clicker. That's the term we use. So basically you can sit there with a bowl of food, sit there with some treats, and you just click, treat, click, treat, click, treat. You just do that repetitively. Once you do enough sessions, they associate click with treat, click with reward. And then I personally really like operant training. Operant training is basically where you just reward the target or the dog for offering behaviors. So it's a really easy way to train your dog to just do random stuff. You just wait for them to sit, good boy, give them a treat. You wait for them to do something that you find desirable and you reward those things. And the more you reward those things, the more likely they're to do it. So that one time they look away from something you don't want them to get, click, give them a treat. They happen to sit or lay down, instead of jumping on someone, click, give them a treat. And it's kind of like opportunistic training. And then you can also do like luring, where you lure them into a sit, lure them into a down, and then same thing. Once they're in the position, you click and then give them the treat. And then eventually you can remove the lure, so you no longer have food in your hand. You just kind of hand target, and then eventually you can phase out the hand target with a verbal command. So, what kind of things can you clicker train? You can train your dog. You can train your cat. I've seen clicker train cats. They actually make special clickers for cats that have like a pointer. And basically you just teach them like to go to the pointer. And then it has a clicker attached. They touch it, you click, give them a treat. And then you can like teach them like go up on stuff or to touch it. And you can use that to like lure them into sits and stuff. So you can train cats. You can basically train any animal that's willing to work for food. That's the one like weak point of clicker training. It needs to be food motivated. If it's not food motivated, or if you don't have the ability to give them a currency that you can equate to a clicker. Like, for example, play-motivated dogs, you really can't clicker train them. It just doesn't relate well, because like you can't just like click and give them a ball. It just doesn't always work that way. But pretty much anything that's food motivated, you can clicker train, including your friends. All you need to do is be able to make a connection of the clicker to some kind of stimulus that is rewarding to the person. And then why do we use clickers? So it's a positive reinforcement-based training method. Being part of a like an SPCA, we're all about positive reinforcement training. If you're looking ever to get a dog trainer, if they use any kind of corrective-based training or punishment-based training, it is more likely to cause fear, anxiety, and aggression in your animal. So I highly advise against using any kind of like shock collars or like punishment-based training. It's effective in multiple applications. And it's used in a lot of different areas. It's used with physical assistance dogs, police service dogs, entertainment dogs, or animals in kind of like the entertainment field. It's used in a lot of different varieties in a lot of different ways. Are clickers outdated? Yes. So I don't use a clicker anymore. I use a verbal cue. So it's the same concept, but you're just using a verbal cue. So literally I just go, yes, whenever a dog does something I want it to do. So instead of clicking it, I just go, yes. The nice thing with that is I don't have to carry around a clicker. It frees up my hand to do other things, especially because I'm sometimes working with dogs that I need both hands to deal with. But yeah, any sound will do. You just need to make sure it's distinct and not something that you say every day. So like, I don't just say yes, I go, yes. Like it has to be a very, very separate sound to your normal everyday speech. Oops, excuse me. Clicker training in action. And don't look at this. Bad animals. So, can I have a volunteer? Preferably, not to be that guy, preferably a fursuiter, just because it's better for the videos for TikTok, because I'm a degenerate. NIMBY, I like abusing it. This is actually my friend, so this is even better. Hi, friend. This is my friend Nimbus. So, don't look at my human hands.
Breaking the magic.
I know.
Shame.
So, to start, we're going to load the clicker. So to begin, Nimbus, see these straws? These are the best straws you've ever seen in your life. These are amazing. You want nothing more in life than to hold one. We're going to start with, so every time I click, I just want you to hold a straw. They're amazing, right? It's okay if you don't. You just need to grab it. And so it seems kind of dumb, but this is how you load the clicker. Goes from you.
Make some happy noises at least.
And over time, eventually, you should start noticing that they'll start reacting to the sound of the clicker. That basically they're going to anticipate the reward. That's the point. So that's how you start with clicker training. All right, watch out. I'm going to put this chair right here. Okie dokie. Do whatever you want with that. So right now, I'm rewarding him for looking at the chair, investigating the chair. You can kind of do the same training with your dog if you want them to kind of build confidence and explore new things. So that's how we lure them into a sit. And And so the nice thing with like operant training is basically you just kind of reward them for doing something you want them to be. So that was kind of wrong, because I clicked beforehand, but I wanted him to grab it. So that, I taught him to stand. So basically, the concept behind clicker training is if over time they build an association. So when they hear the click, they begin looking for the scroll. They begin looking for the reward. So it's kind of minor. He probably can't even hear it because his suit's kind of thick. But when he hears the click, he kind of like briefly kind of looks up and he's like looking for the scroll. Like you can kind of see he's slowly tilting his head. And that's the kind of response you want to look for. You want to look for them to slowly begin to recognize that, oh, my reward is coming when I hear the click. And basically, you just reward them for the behaviors that you want. And then you ignore them for the behaviors you don't want. It's a pretty simple concept. Applying it to friends is a little difficult because they need to be, A, willing. Because unfortunately people are a little bit more sentient than dogs and generally know that you're manipulating them. Because this is kind of a form of manipulation. So you kind of see that he like looked over, he was anticipating it. See, they're the best straws. So with your friends, they need to be kind of in a state of mind for wanting to do this. Like we kind of talked a little bit about earlier with those previous videos, they're just sitting there spamming the clicker. They're using the clicker as a punishment. That's not how that works. The clicker is the reward system. It's a means of basically communicating to your friend that you've done good, that you're a good boy. Good. Just a question. Are there any minors in here? Raise a hand. All right, I'm not gonna get super spicy. I'm not gonna go real crazy with it. So you can use the clicker in an NSFW sense. I'll be honest, it's not really my thing because I'm a dog trainer, so I just look at it differently. But you can basically, it's just taking the reward system and applying it to your clicker. So, whatever it is that your friend likes, whether it's a little nibble on the shoulder, a pat on the head, whatever your little pup that you're trying to train likes, you reward them, you do a click, you give them a little head pat. Click, give them a little nibble. Click, give them something that they like. And then you start withholding that until they do the things that you want them to do, and then you reward them with a click and a treat. So, you can use it to train people, but once again, it's very much like with anything in kind of like the kink community, it's not consent, it's about willingness. You can't just clicker train somebody, because they're going to look at you and be like, what are you doing, bro? Stop that. Because it's annoying. And I think if you're here in this panel, you probably agree with me that clicker training, or furries that go around with clickers just clicking them, is one of the top 5 annoying things at a con. Right next to the squeakers. I knew one of you people would have one of. I almost want to say something he can hold before he drops the ball. So funny story, I'm going to give you some random funny stories just to fill the time, because I'm that guy. The service dog training program that I was in, sometimes you would swap dogs with people so they get used to doing commands with different people. So sometimes you gotta swap the pup. One of the friends that I swapped with had a golden retriever. The golden retrievers in our program were not very food motivated. So he didn't think he needed to keep his food bucket secured. He brought Whitney home. Whitney immediately bullet to the food bucket. Didn't know it was there, but she smelled the food, went right to it, knocked the lid off, ate so much of it that she threw it up in a log. It was undigested, just log kibble, because she just ate and she gorged herself in the amount of time it took for him to run to her to where the food bucket was. She had already eaten so much that it just came out like a solid brick. So there is such a thing as treat overload. And if you do use the clicker training with your dog, some important things to keep in mind. You also want to make sure you're not overfeeding your dog. If you plan on doing extensive training with your dog, you want to make sure that you're changing their diet appropriately. With the service dog training, usually we would take like a little bit of their food in the morning, put it in like a pile for training, and we would use that for training so we're not overfeeding them. With the service dogs, they were more anal about them not being overfed because they would need to be like physical support dogs so they can't be carrying extra weight themselves. And I would use this as another spiel. People, don't let your dogs get overweight. I know you want to care for them, I know you want to show them love, but you're taking years off their life. You're gonna give them hip and knee problems. As a dog with hip dysplasia, it's not fun. It's not fun, people.
Good
Who's a
job,
boy? Look,
Dennis.
he got them all.
Good job.
Let me make it easy. Any questions? I'll open the floor up for any questions about clicker training. Just try and keep it relatively normal, but yes.
Are you clicker trained?
I'm not. I'm not. I probably could be. It's not really my thing. I don't know. So,
Sorry.
I don't know. Hey, anyone else? Yes. Yes, you with the green.
I've heard there are other ways to also do it besides the Pavlovian method, where some people will use hypnosis to try and do it. Are there other ways other than those?
Probably. I mean, like honestly, like clicker training would probably fall into because it is a form of mind manipulation. In like the basic sense that you are reprogramming their mind to click equals treat. And so you can kind of do the same thing, like it's conditioning is kind of like the same concept, where it's just in a broader sense. You're getting someone to associate a word, a noise, or a stimulus with something pleasurable. And so what ends up happening, especially with like NSFW clicker training, if you associate the sound or the clicker or word with a certain like pleasure, the brain will begin to create those serotonins and those like chemicals in the brain at just the sound of the click or the sound of the reward. And it begins to, just like with the Pavlovian dogs, when they hear the bell, they begin salivating. They begin preparing to eat. They are acting as if the food has already been presented. If the conditioning is strong enough, the brain will automatically associate that noise with whatever it's connected to, if it's consistent enough. And that's the key with the clicker training, why spamming it is bad. Sitting there and just going click, 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 devalues it. Because now you have broken that click equals reward. So the more that you devalue it, the less meaning it has. So if every time you click, you're getting a reward, your brain will make a stronger and stronger connection to the point where the brain will associate the click with that reward. And your body and brain will react as if you've received the reward at just the sound of the click. I hope that answered your question. Yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah, it's still a trigger either way.
Right there, yes. Yes, you.
So, the end goal of like per person clicker training, it typically is for click equals reward, right? The click is a reward.
Yeah.
So, how exactly do you get over the hurdle of whenever you're giving the clicker equal, like the clicker gives the reward? How do you get over the hurdle of just getting rid of the reward and having the clicker be the reward without the person getting pissed at you?
So it should never become that. So ideally, in an ideal world, you start withholding how much you click, and you make them work harder for that reward. But the reward should always come with the click. The minute you stop rewarding them to the click, then it will slowly begin to devalue the click. So that is the issue with clicker training in the furry fandom. That's the issue with how it is used in like NSFW circles and then like those videos I showed. Like the one video with the guy that's just sitting there and he's like asking a question, he's just being stupid. He's just clicking it, and like to them that's the reward. That's not really how clicker training should work. The clicker is just the marking of the behavior. It is a means of marking that you did the thing I wanted you to do, and you're going to get rewarded. It allows you to delay the reward. So like normally, like for example, Nimbus it. He now knows he's going to get a reward. I don't have to have it right away. So now, when I give him the reward, he knows why he's getting it. He's getting it because he's sad. Whereas, you know, if you're, it allows you to not have to have the reward like readily available. It allows you to delay it a second. So like they do the thing you want them to do, you click, you wait a second, you know, for them to be all gushy, and then you give them whatever reward they like. Does that answer your question? In the back there, with the ears, yes.
So, considering that you said that it doesn't need to be a clicker, it can be any sound.
Yes.
Could you have the trigger sound or word be something in itself rewarding to the target?
Yeah, and so it becomes that gray area. It's kind of the same thing that he was asking. Basically, if you're consistent enough. So the key with classical conditioning is consistency. Whatever X is, whatever the sound, the noise, the click, whatever that is, needs to be firmly associated with the reward. What will eventually happen is they will associate the click with the reward, but the click needs to still always be followed by the reward because it reinforces that mindset. If you begin removing the reward and make the sound the only reward, it will slowly devalue the click. So like basically, like for example, you know, like if, you know, you're clicker training someone and they get to the point where they create like the serotonin in their brain and they have like the emotional effect of the reward at just the click. Once you click, at some point you still need to deliver some kind of reward, or else over time it will deassociate. Because it will eventually deassociate that I don't always get a reward when I hear a click. And so it sounds weird, but over time, by just using the clicker without a reward, it will devalue it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess maybe I'm thinking of two niche techniques where, like, even before the training, there's already a reward in a particular rare sound.
Yeah.
The trainer makes.
Yeah, I mean, some people get enjoyment from just like a sound, or you know, because when you get into like kind of those scenarios, there's a lot of different ways you can reward someone. You know, so it gets a little bit more gray the further down that path you kind of go. With just pure classical conditioning, with just straight classical conditioning, the clicker does at some point become assimilated with the reward. It becomes the same thing as the reward, but it still needs to have a reward or it begins to lose its power. You know, kind of like with the concept of loading the clicker, you know, I load it to give it power. And so it, you know, kind of think of it like an energy bar, like it fills up. And then the more I begin clicking without giving a reward, its value decreases. And so the more you continue to keep that association, the more fulfilling that click will be. Right there in the middle with the hair. Yes.
So as both a lover of psychology and an experienced clicker trainer, I'm curious, because we've already gone over classical and operant conditioning, are there any additional psychological concepts that you might recommend looking into in order to make clicker training a person more comprehensive?
So there's a lot of different ways of training. There's also, it's called negative reinforcement. It's not what you think it is. When you get to like actual dog training terms, it gets a little bit more complicated. And you're welcome to sit down if you'd like. Everyone get a minute. So negative reinforcement training is removing something to reinforce a behavior. So for example, you could remove a stimulus as a form of like punishment. So like if you're doing something to them that they like, but they're not doing what you want them to do, you now remove that stimuli. And then they don't get it until they do the behavior you want. So that's called negative reinforcement. Negative as in you are removing something to reinforce a behavior. So that is something else you can also do in kind of like a training scenario. Whether it's, and like, for example, with a dog, like they're not behaving during playtime ends. You know, so like, if you're playing like tug of war, and they're not like relinquishing the toy, all right, I'm not playing with you anymore until you play according to the rules. You know, things like that. Does that kind of answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Yep, I saw a hand over here somewhere, I think. Yes.
Can we get a little bit more nerdy?
I probably shouldn't. I don't want to get in trouble.
Well, I'm just saying, in terms of like pairing primary condition reinforcers to create secondary condition reinforcers, or just generalizing?
Yeah, I mean, basically you can kind of take the concept I'm saying, like, when I say reward, you can just insert whatever you want there.
Right.
It's just about consistency, you know, so everyone has, like, their thing they like.
Right.
You know, I'm not gonna tell you guys, I don't want you freaks to know what I'm into. But, like, I have the things that really push my buttons. You know, so, like, I would probably be pretty easy, clicker train. I just don't, I'm a little bratty for that, I don't like her. But, like, you know, it's basically like if you're doing stuff with somebody, you know, like you just kind of withhold any stimuli, and then you click, and then you give them,
Engage stimuli.
you engage in a way that they enjoy, and you can insert whatever you want into that. Because this is technically supposed to be a safe work. Any other questions? Yeah.
So in that case, should it be the same reward every time, or could
It doesn't have to be. It just needs to be something that is going to create that. You're creating that serotonin response in the brain, and over time, the brain will then associate the click and create that serotonin response before they even receive the reward.
Does it have to be serotonin, or it can be other?
Yeah, it can be whatever happy chemicals
like,
in the brain.
yeah, like dopamine,
Yeah, that's the other one I'm looking for. Yeah, dopamine.
oxytocin.
Is there a hand over here somewhere? Yes.
What's the most interesting reaction you've seen from someone who's clicker trained?
So I'll be honest, I don't really do it a whole lot. It's because I do it at work. I like it's a work thing to me. So it's like in my brain, because we all make connections, and this is what conditioning is all about, making connections in your brain. Clicker training is related to my work. So it really doesn't do anything for me. I've done it like once in a while, but it's kind of like, it's like, you know, to me. So, yeah, that's probably as far as I go.
So you train service dogs, right?
I did service dogs, and now I train like behavioral.
What is the most complicated service dog combination that you've trained?
So I only did the puppy raising, so I just had them for the first couple months. They're like from, I did like the whelping program too. So like there was one dog I like cared for from like 3 months old till they were about a year and a half. So basically I would do all their basic obedience training so that they could walk and heel, leave it, sit down, stay, go around, like they could do a lot of fun stuff. And then they would go to the primary trainers to then get individualized. My Whitney became it would be the equivalent of like an ESA, but just better trained. She couldn't make it as a full service dog because she had some alert barking issues and was too short. She was too short. She actually was too short to be a Labrador. She was an inch short according to AKAC standards. And can I get a time check from someone? I just don't want to scroll over.
42.
Huh?
12:42.
Okay, oh, we got plenty of time. I'm glad you guys want to hang out and talk. I love you guys.
I just wanted to say that it's really interesting for me, again, as a dog trainer. I've done some service dog training as well. Even applying it to human stuff, you can do so many multiple steps at a time.
Yeah.
So don't think too small.
Yeah.
Like, in applying it to dogs, like you have to do multiple steps for like training them to touch your hand, and then you can put a post-it note on that, and then you put the post-it note on the wall, and then you move that up, and then they can learn how to turn on lights.
Yeah, like we started training, probably the most complicated thing, Whitney knew how to open doors, even though she was kind of short, and we would begin training Go Pay. So basically they would learn to take an item, and go up to a counter, and give it to an individual. That was probably the most complicated like train of commands that we ever had to do.
So like, you can start lower than just, oh yeah, touch this part of my body because I want you to. Like you can demean them first. And then train them just to target your hand.
Yeah.
And then put that target somewhere on your body. And then continue going to make that like more encouraged brain like setup.
Yeah, like you could even like
just to inspire you all. I just wanted to give you a little bit.
The little dot pointers, you know, have the little ball on the stick.
Just to give ideas, you know.
Yeah, it's a lot of, like basically all you're doing with classical conditioning is just making those associations. You're just making A equal B. And then you can do whatever you want with that. Once that association's made, you make them work for it.
Yeah.
That's good.
Does it work with multiple animals at once? can you get them conditioned to interact with another animal or person or friend?
You could. Yeah, you definitely could do that. The only problem with when you have multiple dogs or animals or people being trained at the same time is they are both going to react to the stimuli. So the one might be getting rewarded, even though they're not necessarily doing what you want them to do. So with like dog training, they learn they only get a treat from the person holding the leash. So that's also what you could do if you have 2 doms and 2 pups. They only get rewarded when their leash holder rewards them.
Now I'm curious. So if you do, say, group dog training, and one dog is doing what you need them to do, and the other dog doesn't, is it preferable to give them both treats, or just the one?
So like I said, with the dog training specifically, because we would actually do classes of like group training, the dogs only get rewarded from whoever's holding the leash. So that's one of those one of those other connections they made, because they learn to only look at whoever's holding the leash.
No. I mean, what if there is one person training 2 dogs at the same time? Or is it
Yeah,
just
then ideally, if you're training 2 dogs at the same time, you would probably need to reward them both, regardless of what's going on. Because even when you make a mistake, click equals treat. Because that's even if you make a mistake, you got to keep that conditioning. Because like I said, if you click and this dog is engaging with you, and you don't reward them, they're going to start ignoring the click, and then the click has lost its power.
And can it be like social, as in dog social, so that the other dog sees what the first dog does, and then tries to repeat the same thing? Yeah, like mimicking.
Yeah, it's actually a good way to work with it. If you have a younger dog,
Yes.
or especially shy or nervous dogs, do really well with another dog to learn from. And that was one of the cool things with service dog training, because you have different dogs at different age groups in like the play yard. And like the big dogs would go up to their handler, do a couple commands and get a treat. And the little puppies would like, look at this, and they would run up and literally do the like try and do the same thing to get a reward. Because they would learn from each other, where they would be watching another dog training and then like do the same thing for their handler. And that's where that operant conditioning comes from, where you just kind of reward them for offering behaviors. And that would be kind of a fun way also to take it to the bedroom, where you just wait for them to offer a behavior that you like, and then that's when they get the reward. So it's a fun. I really like operant training, especially for dog training, because it allows them to think. It allows them to problem solve, and allows them to kind of figure things out on their own. And it's just fun, because it's a fun way to kind of engage.
Okay.
Any other questions?
One small unrelated question. Do you do music?
I do music. I'm actually going to be playing in the Anthrocon Tonight Show if I don't get cut, because they put my panel at the same time as AP Check. But yeah, I do play piano. If you're interested in my music, I am hurting hearts, like border collie hearts. I do, my TikTok is mostly my music stuff. Instagram's more like memes.
Yeah. I just saw your suit. It's gorgeous.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Yeah, it has like some music.
Yes, it's music inspired. So this is actually sonata. So I'm on sonata.
Oh, it's like actual notes?
Yeah, so this is actually the music to one of my songs.
Sorry? Oh, really?
This is actually the music to
cool.
my song Hurting Hearts.
Wow.
Heck yeah.
So before everyone leaves, I have a limited number, but I have, if you all can be responsible with the training I've just given you, I will reward you all with some free clickers, and I have a few of my clicker training collie stickers as well. So feel free to come on up, grab some. Thank you guys so much for being part of my panel. You guys have been lovely. I'm so happy to be here.